Jennifer L. Kelly, middle school educator, professor of education, and author of the Lucia Chronicles. Today's video is a short overview of character. Obviously, character is a very important element in your writing. It's who your writing's about. And there's some elements of character that you want to consider. The first element of developing characters that you want to consider is static and dynamic character versus dynamic characters. A static character is someone who stays the same. They're kind of stagnant and they don't really change and develop. What you want to have in your writing is you want to have dynamic characters. Dynamic characters are characters who undergo major changes. I've had some interesting conversations with one of my colleagues who's also a language arts teacher about how some of the protagonists in series, some popular series, kind of go from the opposite. They go from being these strong, independent female protagonists to kind of being weakened because of their love interest throughout the series. Ends up making them seem not as strong as they did in the beginning and kind of self-reliant on a guy or something like that. So it's kind of an interesting conversation. One of the things that is good for me is I got a compliment from someone about how my female protagonist in the Lucia Chronicles is actually the complete opposite of that, which I thought was pretty awesome. So you want your characters to be dynamic. They need to undergo some kind of change throughout the story, hopefully to make them a better person. Harry Potter goes through a lot of changes in that series. He goes from, unsure 12 years old or so to being older, more mature, and taking on some monumentous tasks and developing. And some of those things are a result of other characters' actions or events that happen throughout the series. And that's what your characters need to do. They need to be dynamic. Another element of characterization is flat versus round characters, and that's exactly how it sounds. A flat character is not a very well-developed character, and sometimes flat characters are necessary. They're kind of like background characters. And round characters are your plump, juicy, well-developed characters, maybe like the main characters in your story. And then that leads me to the third element that I'm going to cover in this video of characterization, which is indirect and direct characterization. Indirect characterization is where actions and what a character does reveals more about their personality than directly stating it. So instead of saying that, Draco Malfoy is a bully who's not very kind and picks on other people, J.K. Rowling chooses indirect characterization via the things that Draco says to Harry Potter, his facial expressions that she describes when he's saying something, and his actions and his words make it very clear that he's the bully in the series. And the reason Harry Potter is on my mind is because J.K. Rowling on Pottermore has released some additional writings, and one of them was on Draco Malfoy. And I highly recommend that if you are part of the Pottermore community of checking it out, if you have not already, because it's very insightful. And she also talks about some of the dynamic points of Draco and how he developed through the series and some of the background information that led him to make certain decisions throughout the series, especially toward the end. So those are some things to consider while you're developing your characters: is dynamic characters versus static characters, flat and round characters, and then direct versus indirect characterization. So as you are getting into your writing, hopefully if you participated in NaNoWriMo after the holidays, you're thinking about going back and exploring your writing and maybe starting to edit it and revise it. And I know that is what I am considering. So I wish you a happy holiday, and let me know in the comments any other videos or topics that you'd like me to discuss. In the meanwhile, happy reading and happy writing.